Okay, Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. This is a short and it's a one-sided battle. So what's going to happen here is we're going to have 6 Japanese aircraft carriers and over 400 planes attack the island of Hawaii, which is a territory of the United States at this time period. The United States Pacific Fleet is going to be located at Pearl Harbor. The Japanese are going to come and they're going to try to take out this fleet. And what's going to happen is they're actually going to cripple the U.S. Navy during this short one-sided battle the morning of December 7th, 1941. Now, this battle is going to be significant for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it's going to allow Japan to overrun Southeast Asia. The United States, which was really the only country that could possibly stop Japan at this time period, is simply not able to get to Southeast Asia to stop the Japanese from their advances. And as a result of this, Japan is going to really just start taking over place after place in Southeast Asia. Number 2, the United States is going to be entered into the war at this time period. The U.S. was trying to stay out of here. They were supporting the British more so. The French, however, they're going to simply no longer be able to stay out of the war. The U.S. is officially drug into World War II on December 7th, 1941, and there's going to be fierce anti-Japanese sentiment in the United States, okay? Americans at this time do not like anyone who is Japanese at all. And we're going to see how this actually kind of is demonstrated within the country a little bit later on in this unit. However, there's going to be intense firebombing of Japanese cities, ultimately ending with the dropping of the 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. Ending World War II. So that is Pearl Harbor for you right there. A short one-sided battle. Boom, over and done with. Next, the Battle of Midway, June of 1942. The Japanese fleet is going to be threatening Midway Island, and their goal in this attack is to simply bait the Americans. We're going to set a trap out here, make the Americans come, and we can destroy the Americans. However, that is going to backfire massively on the Japanese. The Japanese are going to lose their 4 best aircraft carriers at the Battle of Midway, meaning they can no longer transport their entire basically their fleet or their planes from Japan out into far Pacific islands. They no longer can do that. It's going to allow the Americans to take a strategic initiative in the South Pacific. They control a strategic location. The Japanese no longer have their 4 best aircraft carriers, meaning the Americans can really kind of start whooping up on the Japanese. And the Japanese are going to have no time to fortify their island defense line, meaning when the Americans start taking an island and this island hopping campaign they're going to be having is going to go fairly quick and be fairly successful. Lastly, I believe, we're going to talk about Operation Torch. Operation Torch, November of 1942, the Allied landings in Morocco and Algeria. We can remember this because it's Operation Torch happening up in North Africa. North Africa has the Sahara Desert, which is quite hot, just like a torch. American troops crossed the Atlantic for the first time, which is why one of the significance of this battle. Now, the Americans are officially fighting in Europe. Significance, number 1, it's going to push Germans and Italians out of Africa and ultimately is going to lead to the Italian surrender. Okay, Stalingrad, November 1942 to January 1943. This is important because this is the turning point of the war. Up until Stalingrad, the Axis was doing very, very well, and you could argue it was actually winning the war. After Stalingrad, though, that is no longer the case. The Germans are going, and they're going to try to cut off the entire city of Stalingrad. However, the rebuilt Red Army is going to hold the Germans off for a number of different reasons, but the Germans are ultimately not able to capture Stalingrad. This is important for a number of reasons. Number 1, it shows the power of the rebuilt Red Army. Remember, during Operation Barbarossa, the Nazis basically decimated the entire Red Army. This battle shows how powerful the new Red Army actually is. Number 2 is the first major German surrender of the entire war. Okay, this is going to be the first one. It's kind of going to be a snowball rolling down a hill at this point, getting worse and worse and worse for the Germans. And thirdly, the Third Reich is now on the defensive. Okay, the Axis is no longer on the offensive. They're now playing defense, meaning the Allies are in a position to set up victory. That is all for now. Questions, comments, put them down below. Otherwise, good luck.